Hey there everyone, I hope you are all doing good. Today's video topic has been asked for by one of my Patreon, Len, as you prefer. And he wanted me to do a series of video explaining how I made one of the track of my last album, Shapeshifter. It's actually the first real track of the album after the intro called Stern. So I'll link you up if you want to listen to the track, as we are not going to waste too much time here for this. And I'm going to walk you through the entire track in Ableton. Here you can see the whole thing. So I'm going to do a few videos. First, we are going to talk about the drums. Next time will be the bass. And the time after will be the synthesizer, ambience and lead and what have you. So the one on the drums, we are going to start with this, will probably be the longest because the track really rely on the drums and they are way fucked up. So let's start by the beginning. So the track starts with this. A simple addictive drum pattern, only hi-hat. I use a lot this modern jazz kit. Usually tweak it a little bit from there or choose one of the different presets. I don't go much into this edit place. I usually just keep the kit as it is and then work with some effects and stuff when I mix it. As you can see here, there is one little thing I made which is used to randomize a little bit every hit. So there's basically 8 milliseconds of delay in order to humanize a little bit. So you can just write thing on the grid and then add this little device I made to humanize things. And sometimes I use this velocity thing here to add some randomness to the velocity, but I didn't do it here. So coming here, you can hear crazy delay coming in. It's the unfiltered audio instant delay that I use a lot. So let's have a look at the automation. Here, there's nothing. You can see the mix going up. Here, and then feedback max there. This is the intro. Then we get into more serious business. So what's happening over here? We have first the basement of everything, the kick drum. So this is a custom made one. I made it on the modular. I think it's probably the Rubicon oscillator and some envelope from Math. And it must have been processed through Naptomix or something. I will link you up over here to a video tutorial I made about how to make analog kick drums with a modular synth. This is basically how I made this one. Then I sampled it. So if I look at the original sample, as you can see, there's a bunch of different ones. And as it's analog, all of them are slightly different. And what I've done here is not just to copy one and all the time. It's every time a different one. So when I did this, I wasn't very fluent using round robin stuff. I can link another tutorial about this. So, moving on. So I took the time to choose different kick. I made some breakbeats. This one is reversed. So there's some edit going on. In this first pattern, I loop it, so we can stay here and add the sounds one by one. Now there's a snare over here. Keep the kick. This one, it's from the module called Peak from Mutable Instruments that I had for a time, and I sold it because I didn't like it very much, except for the drums. But, well, I just sampled all the drums through some analog stuff. So this one, same as the kick drum. I sampled the old pattern with lots of different hits, and I think it was processed through the dual Borg or something. Anyway, it was processed through an analog filter. The sound itself, I think, was sample based. So the fact it went to an analog filter gave it a little bit of difference between each hit. And as always, I took each snares and chosen the hits I wanted to give some human feel to this. I also added some drills and stuff like I usually do. There is a little bit of a time stretch going on somewhere. Actually, so let's add this with the kick. So this gives us the rhythmic foundation now to the breakbeats. So first breakbeat. I will make you listen to the original one. This was this. Yep, I just sliced it to death in the audio track right here. Cut it into very small little pieces. As I said in all the Breakbeat Torture video thing, I use a lot the fade, especially fade out, cut the breakbeats in various way and choose the length of each hit. I've added here a few other bits and pieces of different breakbeats. Some classic ones. In this part, there is a few time stretch going on. Yeah, I do a lot of sweep with erosion, so I just put it on where I want here, because it affects the sound a little bit, even when it's on and there's nothing, even if you put the amount at 0. And then I slide the amount up, give this kind of degrading sound. This is the time stretch. There's also the tape stop. You can hear it over here. The slight. There's also a second breakbeat line over here. If I solo it, you will hear that there's not much going on here. It's basically just a support for the first one. On the same part, we also have some cymbals. Let's go back to listen to the full drums. This is the full thing. One other big part of this track are what's called the glitch percussions. Those are a big percussion session I recorded from probably my Verb's electronic system. Let you listen a little bit to how it sounds without all the reverbs. So originally, that's it. There's more and more FM. Those have some reverb from the start, I mean from the recordings. I've been playing a little bit with the reverb time to get those rooshy stuff. So let's go back to the original track. So the effects I added on this are the auto pan, so it moves left, right. There's a little bit of EQ to kill the sub-click that often happen when you record modular percussions because of DC offset. There's a little bit of trash. The mid and the high each have different saturation. It's very subtle. And there is the big reverb. You can just tweak to this bright all preset here. There's also, yeah, of course, some drums going on here. Okay, let's move on to the next pattern, which is just a little bit buzzier than the first one. In this part, I start to use a lot of the instant delay here on the snare. Basically what I do is I automate the mix, so there's nothing, and on this part the delay will be active. Here I've added a few random modulation to everything, just to keep it alive. And then I automate the feedback to get those weird drilly sounds. And of course, then you have to adjust the delay time as you want. So here, if I change the delay time, the shorter, the buzzier. Okay, let's go back to our full drum. Yeah, the glitch part are getting more present. There's less break than in the first part. Then we have this break here, which is a big time stretched hit here. A big kick. I thought there was reverb on it, but no. And here, the drums are going to delay more and more until it stops here. So here we are changing. It's more of a classic drum part. What's new here is the octo. The octo is a clone of the TR-808. I did a few videos on it. So in this part, what I did is I synced it to the project and basically jammed on the parameters. And I recorded a big chunk of audio here. I don't know how long it is, but it seems long. And then I sequenced it and tuned it to go with the rest. So as you can hear, the hi-hats are not played by the Addictive Drum kit anymore, but from the Yocto, which give this first part a somewhat acoustic feel because of the main hi-hat going on all the time. And this part becomes straight, more robotic because of the all electronic sounds. There's almost no breakbeat going on. It's just the snare that's getting all twigged up. On this part, it was used a bit before as well, but I use Diffuse, which is a very weird delay and reverb at the same time. There's first the unfiltered audio instant delay for the delay part, and then Diffuse is doing the reverb. So this is only the delay, only the reverb. It's very good Diffuse for this kind of distant echo that fades away into huge reverbs. And if you mix the two, you have this. So here, now, there's a breakdown part, like a kind of a slowdown, where the tempo is divided by 2. Not automated, I mean, but the way things are getting sequenced. And here I introduce the Yocto kick drum alone for this big sub bass. I guess everyone knows that the 808 is one of the first choice when it comes to make sub bass for jungle, because when you, for example, if I take this and put it in a simpler instrument, it's a little tricks on the top, even if it's not used in the track. You all know this sound. Which is the sound of the 808 being played chromatically in a sampler. Okay, so here we have our big breakdown, which relies a lot on the glitch percussion and on delay automation here. There is delay on every snare, but I sequenced the delay time, so each has a different feel. A little bit longer, super fast, longer. But if we look here, we can see it moves like automation on the cutoff that is already modulated by this. There's a little bit of randomness plus some careful automation, so I know a little bit where it's gonna go. On this part we also have the weird cymbal, which is a sound that everyone needs to have. So here I will remove the effects. It's basically just I sampled the Addictive Drum cymbal that's playing here. If I solo it, and if I play this without the effects, it's the same. I wanted it in audio as it was easier to process with the different effects. So here I have the space modulator, which is an awesome free modulation device from Valhalla DSP. That's doing a weird pitch flanging stuff. And on top of that I have an instance of Tremolator from Suntoys, which is doing the tremolo. Easy. So here, just to show you how I sequenced. So I use the part when it's fast, sometimes add some of the slower one. I've been playing at automating the mix and decay of the reverb to get this wash of sounds at the end. Then we have another breakdown, which is more of a build-up actually to get us to the next part. And then we go. But this is the beginning of the end with the very super crazy edited Hammond and breakbeat stuff. This one are pitched down and made very short using the fade out. Here I just added some weird sounds. I think it's some stuff that I made with like putting breakbeats into reactor and tweaking stuff, and it ended up doing stuff like this. Just recorded the audio. And sometimes I use them as materials to add into the breaks. So yeah, there's just a little tiny this basically. This is another one maybe. Those will be in the Patreon pack as well. So here, there's no particularly new thing except that it's all super edited and fucked up. And here we have a new elements going, which is the disto kick. And the clap verb. So clap verb. This one was heavily used on my Chaos Propaganda EP on Piece Off. I think it was everywhere. And I think it's just a 909 clap that I put into a reverb and then distorted after the reverb. And I was like, oh, this sounds awesome. And then I just kept it and used it a lot after that. We also have here a few Yocto hi-hats and the disto kick. So this, it's called disto kick, but it's not really a kick. It's just basically a huge wall of distortion that I have recorded from the modular. Once again, it's something, as you have probably guessed, that I do a lot. So let's listen to how it sounded on the get-go. I don't exactly remember what I did, but it's basically tweaking filters into a shitload of distortion. And if you listen to the full drum thing, it sounds like a kick, but it's actually just the normal kick doing its thing. And here I have this glue compressor. I have sidechained it from the main kick drum. So when the kick drum hits, it lowers the volume of the distortion wall. And this is what gives us that pump. It's like the basic classic techno thing, but applied to hardcore. No distortion. And then it was just a matter of choosing the right resonance part, going with each hits. So if we listen to the whole thing. And we get to the end. There's a few new sound here. Those are, once again, some breakbeats that I've loaded into the finger instance of Reactor and mashed randomly and recorded. And then sometimes I just use them to add spiciness into my drum tracks. So here, for example, this one as well. Alien Talk, I remember those. Let's listen to this one. So yeah, basically the trick here is to just cut them and use the fade out to dictate the snappiness of the sound. We also have a last sound, which is just some cymbals from the Yocto with some added automation on once again. Oh, this one. Forgot about this one. I haven't used this plugin in years, but it sounds awesome when you modulate the time, which I did here, of course. Does this pitch drop in a way not a lot of delay do, actually. Oh, that's nice. Happy I remember the existence of this. I'm going to use it again, probably. So, if you think I forgot to talk about a few things, if you have more questions about some very specific things in the way I've done this drum track, well, leave it in the comments. And maybe I'll do a second run of this video to explain a few more details. I just want to let everyone know that I will put all the samples from this track as a sample pack on Patreon for the producer pack subscribers. And by the way, many thanks to everyone supporting me on Patreon, and especially Len for kind of sponsoring this video. So just for fun, because I like to do this sometimes, for those who don't know what to do, we can listen to only the drums. And see you next time for the bass part. Here we go with the drum. See you next time.